Chapter 30 Thor's Wind. By midday there was still no land in sight, and the air remained as limp as Myrtle's fuzz. Boom didn't think he could row much longer. Halvor passed around some bread and marmalade, but it didn't help much. Boom's arms ached so badly it felt as if his muscles had turned to pulp. Sweat ran down his back and blisters seared his palms. The others looked equally tired. No matter how much they wanted to press forward, progress slowed as their energy dwindled. Despair found its way under Boom's skin. No land, no merfolk, no sound but the thudding of his heart. "Row," Captain Igor murmured, resting his head on his oar. The boat almost came to a standstill as the men groaned with exhaustion. "We've got to keep going," Mr. Broom whispered, stumbling forward to check on Myrtle. But how could they? "We need wind," Halvor said, letting his oar fall upon the deck. "By the blood of Thor, we need wind! We must call upon Thor!" Boom's oar slipped from his grasp. What good would it do to call upon a dead Viking god? He raised his head and watched as Halvor stomped his way to the ship's bow. The old man struggled onto a crate and held his arms to the quiet sky. "If we all wish hard enough and loud enough, Thor might answer our plea for sure." He then cleared his throat and bellowed, "Almighty Thor, God of direct Viking descendants, show us your mercy and send us wind." Mr. Jorgensen stood and raised his arms. "Help us, mighty Thor!" Boom didn't care who answered their plea, be it a Viking god, the god of Winger's church, or a green menace from the sea. Was it too much to ask for the universe to look kindly upon him just one time, one stinking time? "I wish we had wind," he yelled to the sky. "Yeah, that's the spirit," Halvor said. "Louder, so Thor can hear us." "I wish we had wind," Mr. Jorgensen repeated. "I wish we had wind," Halvor groaned, shaking both fists. "I wish we had wind," Captain Igor said as the ship drifted to a complete stop. Only Mr. Broom had not spoken. All eyes turned to him. Boom waited and wondered and made a silent prayer to Thor that his father would not fall back to his old ways. Mr. Broom cleared his throat. "I wish we had wind," he whispered. The baby looked up. Mr. Broom cleared his throat again. "I really wish we had wind," he said louder. He stood and shook his fists as well. "Lots and lots of wind!" "I'll be," Halvor uttered in wonder. And everyone began to chant, "Wind! Wind! Wind!" But no wind came. "Jorgensen," Halvor called, "we must chant the sons of the Vikings' oath, so that Thor knows we are direct descendants." And the two men chanted, "If thy brother is hungry, fish for him. If thy brother is cold, build shelter for him. If thy brother is sick, tend to him. If thy brother is lost, help him find his way. Never steal from thy brother." Boom gasped. Never steal from thy brother. He stumbled forward, fumbling in his coat pocket for something forgotten. "Halvor," he said, pulling out the $3. "These belong to you." Halvor frowned. "To me?" "Yes," Boom said. "It's your change from the $10 bill." He reached up to Halvor, who still stood on top of the crate. Boom stretched his arm as far as he could. The bills rustled slightly in his hand. Then, just before Halvor took them, they blew out of Boom's grasp. The wind had arrived. It flew through Boom's hair and tousled Myrtle's fur coat. She managed to smile like a crack forming in a snowball. The baby clapped her hands. The men whooped, especially Mr. Broom, who almost lost his balance when an extra strong gust whipped between his legs. The sea turned choppy and white caps formed at each wave's crest, like frosting on cream-filled cupcakes. "Raise the sail, lads," Captain Igor ordered. Halvor and Mr. Jorgensen pulled the halyard, hoisting the sails until it opened to a full-bodied billow. It was glorious. Boom felt the despair rush from his body. He felt exhilarated. He didn't know if credit should go to Thor, the merbaby, or a freak cold front. It didn't matter. The wind had come. From the steering oar the captain's voice rose in song. "Hey, hey, away, away, in the salty air we spend the day." across blue-green water and ocean spray. Set sail, my lads, set sail. Set sail, set sail, chart your course by mermaid scale. We'll make the journey without fail, to Whalefin Island we go. Hoist the canvas proud and high, till it touches the endless sky. Cross the water our ship will fly. Set sail, my lads, set sail. The baby seemed to enjoy the singing. She rocked her body as everyone but Myrtle joined Captain Igor in the chorus. Set sail, chart your course by a mermaid scale. We'll make the journey without fail, to Whalefin Island we go. A gull landed on deck. Even though Boom was not a man of the sea, he knew what a gull's presence meant. Captain Igor took out his pocket telescope and searched the horizon. There she be, he hollered, pointing off the bow, Whalefin Island. Mr. Broom sat beside Myrtle, wrapping his arms around her. The baby voiced her displeasure with a snort and flopped over to the rail. She looked up at Boom and whimpered. He picked her up, and she wrapped her slimy arms around his neck. They watched as the tip of the island appeared. Gulls called from overhead, circling as the ship neared. Myrtle, Boom called out. Myrtle, we're here. It's just like in the drawing. Myrtle? Still holding the baby, he leaned over his little sister. The baby reached forward and pushed the white fuzz from Myrtle's eyes. Myrtle? But this time, his little sister's eyes did not open. End of chapter 30.